everyone, Cherif Medawar here, and I want to share with you some steps for apartment buildings investing. Now, one of the most important things is to realize the type of apartment buildings that I like. Number one, I like the most smaller apartment buildings because these type of buildings can be easily flipped to somebody else when I want to sell them. So I try not to go too big. I try to find locations that are destination location, exotic locations that are maybe smaller type of buildings with very good configuration. Some 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, nice, luxurious 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And I like mixed use. I like downstairs to have commercial because then I can get somebody long term. I can get somebody like, I have a building that has 12 units upstairs, and downstairs we put an Israeli company that has these ice cream gelato things called Anita Gelato. It's amazing having that mixed use produces the steady income from a commercial tenant with the corporate guarantee, with the triple net. That means they pay me the tax, insurance, and maintenance proportional to their space. And the power of having that steady income. Plus upstairs, because it's a destination location, we converted most of the units to Airbnb. And yes, even during COVID-19, we're sold out every weekend. When the COVID-19 is over, we're gonna be, our occupancy would run easy at 90%. Why? Demand. You go in a location has demand. I wanted to do this so the units are furnished, the income is better, and then you're able to really make that net income a lot higher than the normal buildings. I have buildings I've seen that are 80 units and 100 units apartment buildings don't even net half what I net literally passively from smaller apartment buildings that are in the right location. So let's talk about the steps. Number one, find the right building in the right location. You don't want C-class unless you're willing to do a lot of rehab and really make a lot of changes. That's a lot of work. You may want B-class. You may even consider A-class if you're able to take it to another higher and better use for the cash flow. Like I've taken this building, was an A-class building, but the seller was in a hurry to sell. And he wanted me to close quickly, gave me a good deal. I bought it, he moved on. I took the building and I started working on it. It was A-class to begin with, but I took it to a higher and better use. I got a better tenant downstairs and I changed the actual income upstairs. So finding the right building in the right location and finding the right tenants, that's number one. Step number two is analyze the numbers. Not just the intrinsic numbers, not just the numbers of the property itself. You want to analyze the numbers of the market. How is the market doing? What's the vacancy factor? What's the trend? What's going on? How do you do this? There's a lot of stuff you find online. I like to actually look at citydata.com. Most everybody that invests in apartment buildings, City Data is got you a lot of free information. You can put a zip code, it tells you about schools, etc. So I like that. You do the intrinsic value and the extrinsic value. That's when you analyze the numbers. That's number two. You find the building, you analyze the numbers. Number three, you want to control the transaction. How do you control it? You control it through the negotiation. You offer, you say what if, you communicate, you see what they want, you build that rapport in the communication. And once you build rapport with the people, you're able to talk about the project, the property, and then you're able to actually talk about the price. Don't talk about the price right away. Take it in stages. Take it in steps. If you're dealing directly with the seller, that's one thing. Even with the broker, you do the same thing. Build rapport with the people, understand the property, and then make the offer on the price. So when you control, you're controlling the negotiation first, and then you control the paperwork. You give yourself some time for due diligence. You give yourself some time for the lining up the financing if you're raising capital, if you're actually getting a loan. And they will give you time because everybody's gonna ask the same thing. So that's number three, control. So find, analyze, and control. And then number four, you wanna time. You wanna time the process of the due diligence. You wanna inspect, you're gonna get some professional inspection companies. Yes, it's gonna cost you some money, but if you wanna do it right, that's the way to do it. You cannot compromise, especially if you're doing syndication like raising capital. So that's a very important step. The due diligence, we have a checklist of 100 bullet points that you have to check. 100, it came out to 100. It's not like I rounded it up or down. It came up to 90 some. We added 2 that we thought are more important at the end to kind of repeat in a different way. The key thing is you have to do the due diligence. The more work you do in advance, the less problems you will have later on. So you time the process of the due diligence and the actual financing to close. You have good relation with banks, you have good relation with investors, they're gonna team up with you. That's how you do it, and then you close. So that's step number 4, you time the process. And now step number 5, it's to strategize to get the right management company to manage the property for you, and then to actually take it to its highest and best use. Every property could produce more income. You just have to be creative about it. We've done many trainings on 12 different types of commercial properties, and each one we had brainstorming sessions for several hours and came up with dozens and dozens of ways to actually add value by adding income. From placing advertisement outside the building, to placing antennas on the roof, to actually changing configurations, to adding some services. Just phenomenal when you get the creativity going. So find, analyze, control, time the process, and strategize, and you will have a cash flow machine that can help you for years to come. That's the way to make it. Wishing you the best of luck. Waiting to hear your success story. Thank you so much.